June 1999, Miami. While other teens enjoyed summer, 15-year-old Jonathan James sat in his bedroom typing commands that would breach one of the world's most secure computer networks. Each keystroke left digital breadcrumbs for federal investigators. His actions would trigger a nationwide manhunt and become the most significant computer breach by a minor in American history. How did a high school dropout with a basic computer penetrate NASA and the Pentagon, forcing a 3-week system shutdown? And what happened to the teenage hacker known as CM Raid? Jonathan James wasn't always a hacker. Born in 1983 in Miami, friends described him as exceptionally bright, but easily bored with traditional education. By age 13, James was obsessed with computers. While classmates played sports, he taught himself programming languages, exploring early internet systems with insatiable curiosity. His parents couldn't afford cutting-edge technology, so Jonathan salvaged parts from discarded computers. They never imagined their son's innocent hobby would evolve into something dangerous. In 1998, at just 15, James dropped out of high school, convinced it had nothing left to offer. His parents reluctantly agreed to homeschooling, unaware of his digital activities. James soon spent 18 hours daily online, joining hacker forums where anonymous users shared system vulnerabilities. His online persona, CM Raid, quickly gained recognition for technical prowess. What drove this teenager beyond simple curiosity? Friends suggest a mix of boredom, thirst for challenge, and the thrill of accessing forbidden systems no teenager should reach. His first major breach wasn't against government systems. In June 1999, James hacked into NASA contractor Exigent Software, discovering something that fueled a dangerous ambition. Through Exigent's networks, James found backdoor access to NASA systems. For a space-obsessed teen, this was irresistible. He began downloading critical space station control software. Unknown to James, NASA security teams had already detected unusual activity. Something was extracting critical data from their servers. The hunt for CM Raid had officially begun. Growing bolder, James intercepted 3,300 government messages, including NASA employee emails and passwords. But he was about to raise the stakes dramatically. His next target, the Department of Defense's Threat Reduction Agency, responsible for analyzing potential nuclear, biological, and chemical attacks against the United States. Using stolen NASA credentials, James installed a backdoor into Defense Threat Reduction Agency servers. For 3 weeks, he had unprecedented access to sensitive security systems. His most alarming breach came when James intercepted military usernames and passwords. Pentagon officials later revealed he could have accessed weapons systems if he'd continued. James later claimed he could view classified weapons research, troop deployments, and critical military operations. All this power in the hands of a teenager who couldn't legally drive. What the teenage hacker didn't realize was that each intrusion was being meticulously documented. A specialized cyber team was closing in on his identity. By January 2000, federal investigators traced the intrusions to South Florida using internet service provider records, narrowing their search for the mysterious CM Raid. James had no idea surveillance vans were now parked in his neighborhood, monitoring wireless signals and internet traffic, following his digital footprints to his family's doorstep. What particularly alarmed NASA was a breach forcing a 21-day system shutdown. The cost for security fixes totaled over $41,000, a significant amount in 1999. On January 26, 2000, while 16-year-old James slept, FBI agents and NASA investigators surrounded his family's home. Operation Wooden Nickel was about to conclude. At 9:03 a.m., agents knocked. James's stunned parents answered to find federal agents with a search warrant while their son slept, unaware his double life was exposed. Agents entered the teenager's bedroom, finding James barely awake, surrounded by hacking tools. His shock quickly turned to fear when he realized who they were. Federal agents confiscated 6 computers, dozens of storage devices, and handwritten notes. His father, a computer programming teacher, watched in disbelief. During questioning, agents were stunned by James's casual attitude. "I just wanted to see if I could do it," he reportedly said, seemingly unaware of the consequences. What investigators found confirmed their fears. James had downloaded sensitive materials potentially compromising national security, including International Space Station control code. NASA confirmed James stole software controlling life support systems on the space station. The code, worth $1.7 million, regulated oxygen supply and temperature for astronauts. The stolen code forced NASA to shut down computers during space station assembly. Had James damaged this code, it could have endangered astronauts' safety and cost millions. What shocked investigators most wasn't just what James had stolen, but how easily he'd done it, exploiting basic security vulnerabilities in critical systems. When asked why he targeted NASA, James later admitted, "I wanted to see their technology. It was simple intellectual curiosity." That curiosity now faced federal charges. The Justice Department faced a dilemma. They'd caught a dangerous hacker who compromised national security, but he was a 16-year-old without criminal intent. While prosecutors debated charges, James remained under house arrest. His computers were gone, accounts seized, and federal agents regularly checked for internet access. In September 2000, James became the first minor imprisoned for computer crimes in the United States, an unwanted place in the history books. His sentence shocked experts. 6 months in juvenile detention followed by probation until age 18, with a ban on recreational computer use, devastating for a tech prodigy. Inside juvenile detention, James encountered a world unlike his digital playground. His technical skills meant nothing here. For the first time, he was powerless and vulnerable. While James served time, his case triggered government security reviews. The Pentagon identified over 150 vulnerabilities needing immediate attention, all exposed by a teenager. NASA implemented system overhauls costing millions. The embarrassment of being hacked by a teen led to congressional hearings about their security failures. The hearings revealed an alarming truth. Government systems designed to withstand foreign state attacks had fallen to a teenager using relatively simple techniques. Prison devastated James. He later recalled, "I went from computers all day to having nothing, no internet, no technology. I lost my identity without that digital connection." His parents visited weekly. His mother said, "We watched our brilliant son waste away. The light went out of him, all because of curiosity, not malice." Released in January 2001, James faced strict probation. No computer use except for school, regular check-ins, and surprise home inspections until his 18th birthday. Normal life proved impossible. Former friends avoided him, and schools hesitated to admit a student who'd hacked government systems. His digital notoriety created real-world isolation. When offered a cybersecurity job, the offer was withdrawn once they realized he couldn't legally use computers. His punishment prevented using his skills legitimately. As James struggled, his case gained attention. Many experts argued talented young hackers should be channeled into constructive roles rather than imprisoned. Surprisingly, NASA officials later admitted James had actually helped identify critical security flaws, saying if he'd had malicious intent, the damage could have been catastrophic. At 18, James's juvenile record was sealed and computer restrictions lifted. Finally free, he eagerly caught up on technology advancements missed during his forced absence. He found work as a cybersecurity consultant, turning infamous skills into a legitimate career. Companies valued his unique insights on system vulnerabilities. James became an advocate for reforming how young hackers are treated. There's a fine line between curiosity and crime digitally. We need to channel talent before kids cross it. His story became a cautionary tale in cybersecurity courses and schools. The teenager who hacked NASA had become an unwitting pioneer in exposing America's digital vulnerabilities. The story darkens in 2007 when Secret Service agents raided James's home, investigating a massive credit card breach at TJX companies affecting 45 million customers. Though James denied involvement in the TJX hack, authorities seized his computers again. The case involved hackers he'd previously known online, raising fears of false implication. The pressure proved too much. On May 18, 2008, at just 24, Jonathan James took his own life, leaving a note declaring innocence and lost faith in the justice system. His final message read, "I have no faith in the justice system. Perhaps my actions today will send a stronger message. I've lost control, and this is my only way to regain it." The TJX investigation eventually identified the real culprits. None were Jonathan James. His tragic death highlighted the lasting impact of his teenage crimes and punishment. Experts cite James's story as evidence that the justice system struggles with young hackers. We criminalize the very talent we desperately need in cybersecurity, one FBI veteran noted. Today's approach has evolved. Programs like Cyber Patriot provide outlets for talented teens, yet the balance between punishment and rehabilitation remains unresolved. NASA and the Pentagon have improved security since James's intrusions. The lesson remains. Sometimes the greatest threats come not from foreign agents, but curious minds with keyboards. Jonathan James, from teenage hacker to tragic figure, reminds us of the human consequences behind digital crimes and the fine line between brilliance and criminality. Had James been born later, his story might have ended differently. Recruited rather than prosecuted, mentored rather than imprisoned. What do you think should happen to teenage hackers today?